Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Loud and
okay.
clear.
All right, all right.
Okay. Sorry. Almost there. Okay, okay. Yeah, okay. I can start. Okay, we are going live. Okay. Okay, we are in there and people are starting to get in. Okay. Okay, let's give it another 2 minutes. Okay. 1 more minute and then we can start. Okay, I think we are good to start. We're just missing one panel member. Oh, he's there. Hi, Ibrahim. I thought you were still missing in action. Okay, so welcome everyone. My name is Nozuko. Basically, will be your host for this afternoon. We've had other sessions carrying on, so thank you for being available to basically have this conversation with us and our panelists. We have an amazing group of panelists from students to graduates, yeah, in South Africa, basically. So we're just here to share some stories, some personal experiences, some personal journeys, from basically transitioning from school to tertiary all the way to the workplace, so that we can learn from each other and be able to move away from such mistakes and then and not repeat them, but also to highlight and celebrate the achievements that some of our panelists have basically had, and I'm sure you as well at home. So without any further ado, let me just tell you quickly before I hand over to the panelists in terms of what GASP is, the Global Student Support Platform. It's an app that we're actually launching through this element. We decided to rather launch in a way of doing workshops, webinars, basically educating each other instead of just your typical launch. It's a platform, it's a gateway where we're connecting students and graduates to different opportunities from tertiary institutions of higher learning to scholarships and bursaries, to employment opportunities, all the way to basically student events. We'll be having more of such events where we're going to be hosting workshops. Some of you I know were sitting in on the previous workshop where we were talking around building your brand, where tomorrow we'll be talking about and having other workshops around mental health wellness. We've got a guest speaker who's going to be coming in to talk around neuroscience through the power of the brain. We've got career masterclasses coming up on Thursday, where we'll be hosting different industry panels from law, engineering, commerce, and IT. And throughout the whole week, we're running a business pitch competition as well. So that will be announced tomorrow. The top 10 will be announced tomorrow, and they are going through to stand a chance of winning some awesome prizes on Friday, where they also get mentorship from some of our judge mentors in terms of taking either their business ideas or business ventures that are already running to the next level. So if you also would like to participate and enter, you have until I think 5 o'clock today to basically submit your pitch so that when we do announce the top 10 tomorrow, yours is also counted on them. So with GASP, there's a small video, there's a short video I'll just play, basically summarizing basically the whole concept about what it is. And make sure if you have an Android or Huawei, you can download it immediately from the Play stores. iOS is coming to you from the 1st of November. So 1 second.
Hi, meet Noma and Chris. They are students who are uncertain about their study options until they come across our Global Student Summit platform, also known as GASP. GASP helped them make an informed decision when it came to what and where to study, be it an undergraduate or a postgraduate qualification in South Africa or anywhere else in the world. With our platform, they were exposed to multiple funding options that help them fund their studies, from global scholarship opportunities all the way to bursaries and study loans. They found a diverse network of student support providers, from the likes of accommodation providers, mentors, soft skills development practitioners, all within our platform. Noma and Chris lead a healthy and well-balanced lifestyle, thanks to the events, conferences, and tips that they found on the platform, where they were able to connect and keep in touch with their fellow peers. They have done a full 360 degrees with our platform, as we have successfully connected them with potential future employers as they are about to graduate and join the world of work. Where will they launch their careers? Will it be in Europe, Asia, or Africa? All these options are at their disposal on the platform. We at GASP can do the same for you. Be sure to sign up for your free online profile today. GASP, connect, engage, inspire.
Oops.
Hi.
Technology, yeah. So as mentioned, it's a free app to download. The only cost will be probably just the data, basically, when you download it. So available again on your Huawei App Gallery store, your Android Google Play Store, and coming to the App Store on the 1st of November. So without any delays, let me introduce you to the amazing panel that we have. Let me see who's first on my screen. So let me stop sharing so you can see them nicely. So let's start with, I've got Precious first on my screen. So please meet Precious. She's doing her final year at UWC. Precious, yeah. And then next to Precious, we've got Mpumi, who's doing his second year at UJ. And following Mpumi, we've got Mihlali. So Mihlali is doing his final year at CPUT, as I was corrected earlier today, CPUT. And we've got Sajal, who is doing her final year at UCT. And we have Delela. Delela is also in his third year at UCT. And last but not least, we've got Ibrahim, who is a graduate and is at PwC. So just a form of quick intros so that you also just get to know what they're studying and why they studied what they studied. We can just go popcorn style, it's all good. Just maybe just 30 seconds of sharing who you are and what you're studying. Anyone can go for. Sajal, I know you want to say, let's go. I'll start with you.
Hi there, my name is Sajal and I am doing my final year in Human Anatomy, Physiology and Genetics. And next year I'm going to do honors in neuroscience, and I am currently just studying and trying to run a business, not on the side, I wouldn't say on the side, but I am running a business. And yeah.
Okay, at home, do you have siblings? Is Sajal by herself?
So I have 3 siblings, so we have 4 children. I'm not by myself, I'm the firstborn, so I make the rules and stuff.
So you're the protective big sister?
Yeah, I take care of them, yeah, I'm the protective.
All right, thanks, Sajal. Let's go with Delela.
Hello, everyone. My name is Delela Ndlela, and I'm a third-year law student at UCT, so I'm in my second last year. I basically chose to study law because I find the law incredibly interesting, because it's kind of the intersection of the intellectual and the public interest, and it's a material way of making a difference in the world. And I'm not quite like Sajal, I don't have a business, but I do have a blog, which is moderately successful, I'd say. I'm a professional complainer, so I spend all my time critiquing things. So I guess I'm quite suited to the legal profession.
So with the law, are we going to be seeing your headlines going forward as the new public protector?
Maybe not that. I might be one of the people that you see in the Daily Maverick complaining about the public protector. So, you know, you never know the futures of our place.
No, we'll keep our eyes open. And let's go with Ibrahim.
So just putting myself off mute. So everyone, my name is Ibrahim. I studied a Bachelor of Business Science, specializing in finance and accounting at an undergrad level. And after that, I studied my Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting Honors, which is technically, for those of you who are doing accounting, it's your postgraduate diploma in accounting. And post that, I started my articles. So my articles to qualify as a chartered accountant. The first year I spent in my articles as an academic trainee. So what that basically means is that I was an assistant lecturer at the university. So kind of saw the other side of what the university field is like. And I'm currently a second year trainee at PricewaterhouseCoopers at the Cape Town office. So that's just from my side. I completed my coursework for a master's specializing in applied finance as well last year. So I still have the thesis outstanding for that, but yeah, thesis take quite a bit of time to do. So I'm still currently busy with that. So yeah, that's from my side.
Sure, and how are you juggling work and studies? Because master's is a big
No, it's
chunk.
intense. It's intense, definitely, because I have a board exam to complete as well. So I'm writing in December my final board exam to qualify as a chartered accountant. So juggling those responsibilities has been crazy, absolutely crazy in the current year. So it's tough, but I guess we have to make time for everything, yeah.
Yeah, and I think also there's a few elements that the students can actually learn from, because once you say to them, oh, go apply for vacation work, and they're like, no, I have my academics. So imagine you've got work, you've got masters, you've got board exams. Maybe you're gonna need to share a secret there. You're gonna need to share some secrets, yeah. Thanks, Ibrahim. So we'll go with Precious.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Precious Mwanza. I went to school in Cape Town, Westerford High School, and I studied occupational therapy after my gap year. And I'm in my final year now, and I will be working at my community service here in a small town called Volksrust. I hope that's how you say it. I've never lived outside of Cape Town, so it's going to be an interesting journey. And I think from there, I'll be able to decide what I want to specialize in as an occupational therapist. But I do know that I will be wanting to attain skills that will facilitate my journey to work independently. Yeah, so that's my story.
So finally, you're moving away from Cape Town. I was teasing everyone earlier on, saying it seems like it's a Cape Town crowd, except for Mpumi and myself. So Precious will be joining us there now. And,
yeah, I'll be close to Joburg.
Yeah, no. And we've got water. We don't have 4 seasons in one day. So and home, so with siblings, or are you the only child?
So I'm quite literally alone. Just to share a bit of a background, I was raised by my mother since I was young. When her and my father separated, my brother had to move to his mother's side of the family, and we were sort of separated until 2016, and then I rekindled. And then I lost my mother in August of this year. So I'm quite literally alone. I've been independent for a while. My mother and I were also separated when I started university, just out of high school. So I've almost have my way around being independent and trying to sustain myself. So yeah, it's a new journey without her, but I think I've been somewhat prepared.
Sure. I'm sorry to hear about your mom, but I'm sure she's super proud. And you've got the family outside the family that you have. So there's that extra support.
Yeah.
And thanks, Precious. Mihlali?
Hello, everyone who's listening and watching. My name is Mihlali Makunga. I'm originally from Eastern Cape, in a small town called Umbu. But yeah, I live here in Cape Town now. Been here since 2007. So yeah, this is where I did my primary schooling, and then I went to high school, attended at Kemp's Bay High School. Yeah, and now I'm currently attending Cape Peninsula University of Technology, also known as CPUT. Yeah, I'm doing I'm doing my advanced diploma in chemical engineering. Yes, and family-wise, I'm the firstborn at home. I've got 3 siblings, 2 sisters and 1 brother. Yeah, and yeah, like 2 of my siblings are in Eastern Cape, in East London, and then my sister is here with me. So yeah.
Oh, sure. Okay, now thanks, Mihlali.
Sure.
Mpumi, so you're doing marketing. When did you find out that marketing was the career that you wanted to go into?
So interesting. So anyways, let me just greet everyone and say hi.
Oh, sorry. Oops.
Yeah. So my name is Mpumelelo Vilagazi. I'm doing my second year at UJ. Similar to Sejal, I hope I said it properly. I'm also running my own business full time. My journey, I've got three siblings. Yeah, three siblings. All of them are girls. I'm the only boy. A bit of like the protector type of thing. And really my journey into marketing was quite interesting. So my final year in high school, I attended St. Stephen's. I kind of messed up with my maths results. So when I applied to all the different universities, I did BComs, and something about UJ made me say try a BA. So I applied for a BA, and literally by stroke of luck, I got in and found out it's actually something that I really enjoy.
And where do you see that journey taking you in marketing? Because marketing can be so broad. And what speciality of marketing do you want to really focus on?
So currently what my business specializes in is we are mainly like the startup services for small businesses, but we're also venturing out into outdoor advertising, mainly around townships, so in Soweto, through wall murals and hopefully billboards at a later stage. So those are the aspects that I want to focus on. But another reason why I actually enjoy marketing and have actually stuck with it is because of how intense of all the workings of it. So from all of the inputs to the outputs, you have to understand each and every process of that to really be able to communicate effectively what that company that you're trying to represent is all about. And also getting feedback from customers about whether they actually enjoy or appreciate the effort that's being put in. And if they don't, how can that company work on iterating and optimizing whatever product that they have to almost satisfy the needs of their customers, and even those that they don't even know about.
Oh, sure. We'll keep that in mind. I'm sure we've got a lot of entrepreneurs coming here. So we're going to need those marketing skills to help us and help everyone. So Mihlali, you coming from Kumu in the Eastern Cape, and you've basically deserted as fellow Eastern Cape Townian into Cape Town. Why the journey to Cape Town? How was that transition for you as you moved from the Eastern Cape to Cape Town, and that transition from high school to university?
It was when I moved from the Eastern Cape to Cape Town. I got into this new environment, and everything was just different, But from Eastern Cape to the primary school part, I would say the transition was relatively easier than the one from primary to high school, because at least even though I was going from rural to township for my primary, I think at least there I sort of connected with the kids from there, because we at least we shared different background, similar backgrounds. So I think that was relatively easier compared to high school, because for me, from a township primary school to a Kemps Bay High School, the jump there was massive. It was massive, and I think that was the most challenging part at that time for me. But I got through that by believing that I was there for a reason, that it was not a mistake for me to be where I was. Because I kept on believing I was there for a reason. There must have been a purpose for me to be there. So that was what was challenging, but I managed that through believing that, okay, this is where I am and I'm here for a reason. Yeah. And it was no mistake for me to be to go from rural to township to Model C. So yeah, it was not a mistake. That's what I kept on believing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very true. What they say, mind over matter. So if you believe in it, you can do it. And no matter what it is, you will adjust and keep going. So outside, because you mentioned that you basically, you could relate and had a group of friends that you could relate to, which made the transition easier. Were there any other supporting elements that helped with that transition to help you settle in? Because also academically, it's very hard to move from maybe one textbook for maths to like 3 textbooks for one module.
Like I think the most important aspect was high school, where there was a lot of support. It was support from students for a better future. So even before grade 8, we had these camps where we would and remember at the time, like I was meeting like totally different people. So we had those camps, even like in grade 8 in school now, like there were camps, just to break the ice and get us together. So support wise, yeah, that was those were the kind of support structures that were put in place, like just orientation camps and like even with class small, like in your groups, like class interactions. So those definitely helped in terms of me bridging that gap.
Okay, no, that's lovely to hear. Sajal, how would you describe your experience when you transitioned from school to university?
Well, I didn't have a problem with like adjusting to the work ethic because we had very long school hours. I went to Claremont High, so our school ended at 4:15. So like ending lectures late was not a problem for me. And like had to put in the work, and that wasn't a problem either. Because like from school, I was already working like really late because I got home really late. So I was already used to working during the night. So in terms of like the work ethic part of university, like the academic load, that was high school prepared me for. The shock was how this material is tested. That was very shocking. So you'd be like, whoa, this test is easy. And then you write it, then you're like, what? This is me? This is my mark? So that was the hard part to get around. So then I had to start learning like new ways of, I guess, learning. Like it wasn't enough to just read. Now I had to like know what keywords I need to take out and things like that. So that was the hard part in terms of adjusting to the academic part of it. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's testing and assessments, and now everything is online. Like Delela, how are you finding the online assessments and the online virtual world going? Because that's its own transition.
I think it's wonderful because it's taken out what I think is the most problematic element of the testing style, which is that our testing systems tend to test memory more than they do understanding. So you'll get a lot of people that get like 80s and first and above, but really all they've managed to do is just kind of read and rote quote what the lecturers have said. Whereas now the lecturers have kind of changed their testing style. So they're asking questions more for application and to test your understanding as opposed to merely your ability to read and parrot off. So I think even though it's not ideal to have everyone like, in completely separate environments, we can learn some lessons from the way COVID has changed the way we work.
So as IT people say, we need to be agile and be able to basically adapt to different situations, like literally at any second. So this is the true test of why everyone was saying we're coming into this digital world, it's 4IR, and it's like, yeah, it's coming, and boom, it just landed on our laps. Ibrahim, so you've gone through the different elements. You've gone from school to high school, and now you're working. Knowing your younger self back when you were still in school, what would you had hoped you knew now that you've been through the entire process of university and school life? What would you had liked to know then, so that the guys watching now, they could maybe start thinking about that as well if they're not thinking about it right now?
Yeah, no, 100%. I think there's three main things I would basically tell my younger self, basically. And I think the first thing is just in terms of adapting, like you're always gonna have to adapt, whether it be going from primary school to high school, which personally was the hardest part of adapting for me. But yeah, you're gonna have to adapt there. You're gonna have to adapt at going from high school to university. That's another adapting stage that you have to actually go through, as well as now finally going from university into a corporate world, or into like any job. If you are an entrepreneur, that side of things as well. So the ability to adapt is actually very important, and I think that's something I would tell myself, or my younger self, to basically own that skill and to be conscious of it when you're actually going through these different cycles that you do experience in your timeline that you are facing. So that's the first thing. And then I think the second thing, just in terms of collaboration and teamwork, because you can't do anything alone. I think that's the main thing that my journey has taught me. And you need to get other people involved in the things to actually allow you to be as successful as you can be, because they have this saying, when it's a finance saying, when you're dealing with mergers and acquisitions between two companies, and they speak about all these synergies that actually come about, and they always say that in a successful merger or acquisition, you'll have this idea where 1 + 1 = 3. And I think the same thing in terms of collaboration actually comes through when you start working with other people in any phase that you're actually dealing with. And then I think the third thing also is to actually focus on working smart and not just working hard, because people can bang out hours. They can put in like 12-hour days every single day, and you just don't see progress, and you're asking yourself, why am I not seeing any progress? I'm putting in the hours. And I think for my younger self, and what I would tell my younger self, is actually saying that you need to actually first plan before you go through all of these things. And there's another saying that comes to mind by saying that failing to plan is failing to plan is planning to fail. So essentially from that perspective, I'd say also have a plan in mind so that you can actually work smart, instead of actually just going into things and starting to go crazy on all this hard work, but you don't see the results of it. So that's just my take on those three things that I want to bring forth.
Okay. No, that's true. I'm a firm believer of that saying myself. If you fail to plan, you are definitely planning to fail, because otherwise, what are you planning for then? So Mihlali, you're doing your final year in engineering, correct? What have you done in terms of prepping yourself now for the new chapter of basically the working world? Have you started looking for jobs? Are you waiting till you finish your exams? What's lying ahead?
At the moment, I'm just looking towards exams, because I feel like that's the most challenging part at this moment. But I've started applying for internships and vacancies that are open. So and I think one advice I would give to anyone out there is to apply as early as possible. Don't wait until you graduate and then you're like, okay, I need to start looking for like a job. So I think once I get through the exams, and then I'll be just get through the exams, but at the same time I'm still applying for like internships and whatnot.
And how many internships would you say, roughly, as an estimate, how many have you applied to?
I would say at least 5 so far, at least 5, and unfortunately I haven't gotten any response from all 5, but I'm on the positive side, so at least 5 so far that I've applied for, and I'll still continue to apply.
No, absolutely. All the best with the application process. It does, because there's even more competition right now, from internships to graduate programs. I believe there's about 1 to about 2,500 applicants, one position to that number. So it's a very tough environment to get into. And I'm sure Ibrahim will be able to share basically that whole journey of the number of companies in order to get to interview stage. So, and Precious, you planning on doing your ComServe, how was that journey for you in terms of being placed somewhere you have no idea? Because I know with the health sciences, it's all a matter of the Department of Health coming in and saying, you going there, you going there, you going there, and you have no say in that really. How did you manage to basically accept that and basically make the most of it and say, you know what, it's going to be the best experience ever, and you psyched up and you're going to look forward to it?
Yeah, so I didn't get any of the placements that I applied for, and we usually are encouraged to apply in cities that aren't necessarily popular. So, for instance, applying to Groote Schuur, over, let's say, 100 OTs will be applying to Groote Schuur. So your chances of getting a position there might be very slim. But even though I try to refine my options, I really wanted to be around the coast, you know, PE, maybe Richards Bay, and then I got bang smack in the middle. I think it's on the border of KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga, so I'm really landlocked. I'm honestly up for adventures and exploring the country whenever I can. So I think had I been landlocked and had I been on the coast and in my comfort zone, I think I would have taken the year really slowly, as Cape Townians usually do, some of us. So I think take any adventure that comes your way, even if it's something that you not really expecting, and see what you learn from it about yourself, about your environment, how you navigate the world. Really take every opportunity as a learning curve, and not really be taken down by what you hoped for and what didn't come about. So yeah.
Sure. No, absolutely. And still talking around applications. So Mpumi, you are funded. How did you manage to get a bursary? How was that process going? Because there's a lot of people without funding. There's a lot of people being funded by the government, and some people missing certain deadlines and missing certain opportunities. How did you get your funding? How was that process?
So my whole funding journey actually began in grade 5 or grade 6, actually. My dad was able to find this amazing program called the Student Sponsorship Program. So it's called SSP. And I went through a very rigorous process of exams, boot camps. Are they called boot camps? Well, yeah, camps with like everyone else that's in for your year. And I was then selected by the program itself. And what they did is that they actually went and found funding for me. And I just had to really just maintain the relationship that I had with my sponsor. So my sponsor Fundi has been sponsoring me since I was in grade 8 at St. Stithians. And they've continued that journey even now into my varsity years.
Okay. So how would you place it for someone who's now coming out of high school to say, you know what, this is maybe how you can go about looking for funding?
I think it's very similar to how Mihlali explained it around finding placements for like a job. I'd definitely say try as early as possible, because I mean, I did actually try and apply for funding for varsity because I wasn't actually very sure. I only got my reply from my bursary the year that I actually started. So I actually didn't get picked up by any of the bursaries that I applied for. And I think that's also because I was very relaxed about it, and I procrastinated a lot, and I left it to the last minute. And a lot of people say they work well under pressure, but sometimes what you produce when you work under pressure isn't the best. So I would say plan it out and start as early as possible in anything that you, and That way you're able to, instead of only doing 20 applications in the space of 3 months, you can do 100 applications in the space of 9 months. And I think 100 as opposed to 20 or 30, you have a good chance of being picked up by at least one.
Yeah, sure. So I see some hands are going up. Let me just open up for some conversation. There's someone I think wanting to ask a question relating to what you're saying now. Okay, sure. Nirana, your hand is up.
Hi.
Go for it. Did you have a question?
I didn't, sorry, my mistake.
Okay, sure. Okay. No, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely, Bumi. With you, Delela, are you funded? Are you on a scholarship? Are you on a bursary? How's that journey going for you?
So I'm on the Michelle Scholarship Program with Sagel. So, hi Sagel. And yeah, it's rather comprehensive funding, actually. Not only that, but they also give you support, which is, I think a lot of institutions kind of forget that university spaces can be quite daunting environments. And even students whose parents can fund them fully, even for them, it's quite a daunting space. So to have that layer of support is incredibly helpful, because you've got a whole team of people running around asking you, have you applied for this job? Have you applied for that? Have you applied for masters? Where are you going to get a job? What's going to happen next? So it's kind of like having your own little team of guardian angels backing you the whole time.
Mm-hmm. And seeing that you are doing your third year, so with the law, it's a very tricky one. I think it's even similar to CA in terms of accounting. Being in your third year, you already should have applied for your job for 2022, for instance. Have you started applying, or have you secured your CA articles as yet?
So I've started the application process, but then I've had some time to think, and I'm thinking of going for my master's. So, because it's an incredibly competitive field, and there's basically a handful of really important, highly competitive, well-paying jobs that everyone is just going for. So then applying for your master's can give you that edge. And equally, I think a lot of our, culture is quite corporate intense and quite corporate focused. And then the idea is, you get your degree, you have to make 70,000 rands per month as soon as you graduate. That's the goal. And it creates a very toxic kind of bloodthirsty, cutthroat culture. So I'm trying to kind of sidestep that. And, my options are still very open. I'm only in third year yet. I'm not, graduate anything. So then I'm thinking the academic route is open, the NGO route is open, the corporate route is open, the government route is open. So yeah, long answer to a very simple question, but I have applied, but I haven't quite decided.
Okay, no, sure. Sagel, so you want to go into neuroscience. Why neuroscience? And how did you even find out about neuroscience? I can think back to my days when I was still in varsity, and a doctor for me was a doctor. So why the interest in neuroscience specifically?
So firstly, you're right. It was hard to figure out what neuroscience is. First, I thought neurology was neuroscience, and I thought neurosurgery was neuroscience. And then I discovered they're all different things. And in neuroscience, there's different kinds of neuroscientists. It's a lot. So so definitely it is very hard to figure out which one is which. But the passion for neuroscience was just, I'm really interested in human behavior. And I believe that there's a high correlation that there's something to do with the brain. There is, so definitely something to do with the brain. But I just believe that there's something that hasn't been found yet. And I just want to, go in there and research and be maybe there's something missing that we still need to find out. And the crazy thing is, even though there's so much research out there, there's so much that we still don't know. And it's scary. It's really scary. And yeah, so I just want to be part of the team and the people that are going to find these amazing things. And I'm thinking more into cognitive neuroscience, which is the behavioral part of neuroscience. But like Delela said, there's a lot of opportunities and windows. So I'm not I don't know, I might just go to neurosurgery and do medicine and then specialize. As long as I end up with the brain, the root, I can take the root and every root, it's really fun. And that's like the idea of, I have all these opportunities and windows open, and there is absolutely nothing stopping me from taking all of them at once. So yeah.
Okay. No. Yeah, the brain, I don't think anyone should bring a brain close to me. Yeah, it would be disastrous. So Precious, you being in the health field as well, and you're going to be starting your ComServe. Are you anxious around the whole COVID situation, being in the front line, because that's what's going to be happening? How are you basically managing and calming your nerves and calming your anxiety, if any? Yeah.
So in the beginning of the year, we were initially going to do our fourth year thesis as a group, and then lockdown happened, and then we had to sort of do everything together, on our own. So I chose the topic of finding out how the frontliners are coping with their mental health. And I found a lot of interesting things about what our frontliners have to deal with on a daily basis, the mental health that they endure while being under very stressful environments on top of COVID. And I'm currently now in a community setting as an OT. I'm not in a hospital setting as some of my colleagues are. So I'm sort of exposed to working around people, but not in a hospital setting. So with the knowledge that I got from my thesis and being comfortable and slowly integrating into the communities again, I am nervous, but I think that so many wonderful frontliners have done the work and are doing the work, and sadly, some people have lost their lives. Frontliners have lost their lives, but it's our duties as healthcare professionals to show up and do our best for the communities that we serve. So I'm more excited to be part of that group that contributes to serving the country. I think that's something that I've always looked forward to ever since I was young. So yeah, I'm excited, cautious, but excited as well.
Yeah, no, we salute you, and we salute all the front liners, because it's a difficult situation that we face as a global nation. And still being on that topic, Ibrahim, you doing your articles, you going from client to client to client, how has that affected your own mental state, and just also in terms of the work from home balance, or when you have to go to see your clients, do you want to actually go? How have you basically managed that anxiety and that area of what's happening now?
Yeah, I think it differs company to company, obviously, but I think from my side, I've been working from home for the majority of the time. I went to the client like 1 or 2 weeks, and I've been at office a few weeks as well. But it is quite an anxious time just to go to the office and all the protocols that they have in place and whatnot. And again, you need to adapt to all of these things as you're going along. But like obviously it's easier when it's face to face. Like if you need to ask the client something, they write at the tip of your fingers rather than sending out an email and having all of these back and forths going on. So just from a working standpoint, it is more efficient, I think. But like obviously from a health perspective, you'd obviously want to be at home and not risk just getting infected in that regard.
Yeah. Okay. I think on that note, we can open up some questions from the audience. If anyone has any questions or any views or any suggestions they'd like to share, please use there's a Q&A option and there's a chat option as well. And we'll try our best to answer. But if it's also just, suggestions and any words of wisdom, we welcome that as well. And I'm sure the panelists also would welcome such. So while, let me check on the YouTube link as well, just in case there are any coming from that side. Okay. Okay, so while we just pushing the questions in the meantime, a few of you have spoken around entrepreneurship. I know some of you have started your businesses as well. I hope you did enter the business pitch competition. Looking forward to seeing those entries. But why, so Sajal, you in the health sciences, you own a graphic design company. It's like chalk and cheese, like.
So, that's why the brain is amazing. Get to do all these things in person. So I am very, I guess, artistic as well as academic. Like I dance, I write poetry, I design stuff. And yeah, like I do that stuff as well besides academics. I'm not only an academic. The entrepreneurship idea came from, I guess, I just wanted to start something on my own because I work I work as well. I'll just add that to the list. So I'm a tutor. I've been tutoring since formally since like the end of 2017. So I've been tutoring like, I guess, kind of full part-time, like off university hours. And I also did reception at some point in 2019, also the entire year. So like it got me used into the idea of working and getting money for myself. So I was like, you know what, I can do graphic designing and I do this. I've been doing it since I was 15, like proper work for an NPO for our church actually. So I was like, you know what, I don't get paid for this. I can get paid for this. And there are people who need this because I see so many businesses that are amazing and great, but their presentation is not so great to the public. So I was like, you know what, I want to help these people. They win, I get paid, they get more clients. It works out perfectly. But then I didn't just want that. So then I created Elzeca, and then it's more of you come to us, by the time you leave, you're full-fledged. So we have a legal side of things where we get an actual lawyer. He works at EN South Africa, so it's proper stuff. So that's like, you can do consultation, like if you need to register a company, get certificates and whatever. And we have a web design part. So by the time you come to us and then you're leaving, you're full on, your business is set up. So I wanted it to be something that brings a lot of value to someone so that we're not just throwing you in the deep end. Okay, we're going to design your posters, then go and find yourself how you're going to do the rest of your stuff. No, you come to us and do everything. So that was the idea. And I just want to contribute and add value because Africa needs entrepreneurs and stuff like that.
Wow, I mean, this is so beautiful to hear. And we need so many entrepreneurs out there. As we all know about the unemployment rate that keeps soaring. So if we can also come in and solve problems for ourselves and greater society will be in good hands. So I think you and Mpumi, because Mpumi, you also have you've got a strategic marketing company, correct?
Yeah.
So why you also starting your own business while you're still studying? What pushed you to actually get into starting a business and just thriving with that?
So it also became a thing of I was working earlier. So I started working my first year actually as an intern at my bursary as well. And I did that for a while. And then I also then later got the opportunity to work at a startup that was in the fintech industry. And I enjoyed the experience that it gave me, but I never really wanted to be employed on a full-time basis. So I decided that I had to do these things. It was almost like a plan, I guess I could say, that I said I have to do these things in order to have some form of experience and knowledge of the industry and use that little that I have. And then obviously the deep end dive that you feel that you're in as an entrepreneur to almost catch up to a goal that I have. So yeah, also outside of that, it was just how competitive the employment space is for marketing. That made me say, you know, I'd rather employ people that I've worked with in school and wherever else, than have to always like try and be looking for a job. So to rather just start my own thing, see how far it goes, and hope for the best.
No, that sounds amazing. So as you were just talking around how your process has been, your basically journey into entrepreneurship, we have a question from one of the audience members. So I'm a BSc student. So as students, we find it difficult to find a job after completing our degree. So that's not my choice to do masters next year, but I have no choice than to stay at home, because there's no jobs for us. Any kind of advice, information you might probably have. Seemingly, I don't want to work for my family because they don't understand how hard it is to get a job from what I'm doing. Does anyone want to maybe share then? Delela?
So then my suggestion, I mean, of course, I'm a very theoretical person, so I'm going to approach this at a theoretical level. So I see that you are a Bachelor of Science Honors Applied Mathematics. So I think just from applied mathematics versus like theoretical mathematics, this is highly analytical stuff. This is like, you know, you're handling things a lot. So I think it isn't so much a degree issue as it is a kind of self-branding and self-marketing issue. So then rather than brand yourself an applied, you know, mathematics honors student, brand yourself a highly analytical, adaptable person. Because I think I used to have a big problem with doing maths in high school. I despised maths, and to this day I still do. But view mathematics and English and, you know, drama and all those things as not so much disciplines and prisons, but as languages. So maths is how you, like, you know, it's the language in which you view the world. It's your way of approaching analysis and structure. So maybe that's a thing for CVs, self-marketing, you know, just beef up your CV a lot, maybe those kinds of things. So that's my advice.
Okay. Does anyone else have any advice to share? Okay. So from my side, what I could say is there was, I think right at the beginning when we were chatting around the jobs, and was it Mihlali who said he's applied to about 5 companies. So the job market is very tough. It's a competitive environment. It is, it's no child's play. So having to give up to say there are no jobs, it's kind of, I find it as an excuse. As I mentioned, there's literally about 2,500 applicants to one position. And it's even going to get worse now with COVID, where companies are downsizing. There's a lot of retrenchments. So it's even going to move from that 2.5 to probably anything in like 7,000 to 10,000 applicants that come in to just fill one role. So you can't be giving up on yourself. There's a company I used to consult for, a scholarship organization, and the one candidate actually applied to 120 companies, and only to have interviewed with 5 of those. And from the 5, she landed her role. So I don't know the background in terms of saying how many companies you've applied to, but you can't give up on yourself, because if you give up on yourself, then there's nothing that can happen. So you literally need to go up there, find the job sites. You need to go to campus. Campus has the career services, and a lot of universities and colleges and TVETs, they actually partner with a lot of corporates. So what I can suggest to you is to say, go have a conversation with your career center. Ask them what roles or what companies they have that could be suitable and befitting to the skill set that you have, but also speak to your faculty. A lot of the faculty members and faculty admin, as well as your lecturers, they've got contacts and networks in the industry. So if you wanting to do your master's, that means you're now doing your honors. So already you are one level up, and you should already have a relationship with your lecturers. And it's going to be a good conversation to say, I want to find a job next year. I don't know, or it might be that you maybe don't know how to search or how to find a job. So maybe be honest with them and say, I don't know where to start. Please guide and please advise. And there's a lot of internships. There's actually companies that are looking for interns. So sometimes a job doesn't mean it's going to be this fancy grad program. a job could be an internship. It could also be volunteering. If you do start volunteering, you already 1 foot inside the door. From there, you can start proving yourself, and before you know it, find actually a more permanent position. That's just my 2 cents. Yeah, but have a conversation with your office. Sure, Ibrahim.
Yeah, can I just say something just as a just on that note? So I think, especially like just in general for those that are looking for jobs, I think it's a bit of an unorthodox approach to follow, but what does help also is just contacting the person that you actually want to get in contact with at the end of the day. So just a small story, it won't take long, but a friend of mine, he's had this dream of working at a specific investment bank like all his life. And a few weeks back, he just thought, look, I know what the email address of this person is. I'm just going to email. And I have nothing in that case. Let me just send him an email. And like he got a reply and he's getting into like conversations with this person and whatnot. So I think it's also important. It's not just like who you know in terms of actually getting a job, but it's who knows you at the end of the day as well. So if you can have a foot in the door anywhere, and like it's easy today where you have LinkedIn and this, like everyone has a profile on LinkedIn. If you just message the person that works at the company, you have nothing to lose in that case. Like just put your hand up in those certain instances if you're finding the normal routes where you're applying unorthodox method as well. It can help in certain instances as well. Okay.
Yeah, and to what you're saying, Ibrahim, LinkedIn, there's if you have a LinkedIn profile, that's a great way to also just tap into that. Any other suggestions from the panel in that regard?
I would second you on the volunteering side of things. So, for instance, on my side, at my bursary, it wasn't actually like something that I was supposed to do, so it wasn't compulsory that I actually started working there on my holidays and stuff like that. But I actually just sent an email to the person that I knew that worked there. So same like what Ibrahim said. And I said, can I please just like try out and gain some experience in marketing? And I didn't get paid for like, I think it was 2 or 3 months of those. So the whole of my first year while I was volunteering, I didn't get paid at all. And I had to like hustle, what you call it, transport money from my grandparents or parents, whoever. I'd rotate who I'd ask. So one time I'd ask my dad, the next time I'd ask my aunts, next time I'd ask my next time I'd ask my grandfather. I'd rotate. But eventually, because of the value that they see you add, aren't you getting paid? And I was like, no, I'm not. And they're like, oh, okay. We should actually get on that. So I think just putting your foot there and really just trying to force yourself in as much as possible and show your value, like in the end, it will be worth it in some way.
No, absolutely. And also maybe to find ways of having that whole entrepreneurial mindset. BSc Mathematics is an amazing qualification. I'm sure there's some problem in your face that you might need to identify and then try come up with a solution for that. And you can start in your community. And there was an earlier session today where we were talking around something like this, and where you first maybe might need to find and help your own immediate community. As you're doing that, you're building your own experience, so that by the time someone sees you, or by the time you then get that interview and you get that job, you've already started something, even if it's part-time. You could be a maths tutor. There's especially now with everything going online, a lot of schools don't have enough time to actually get the students, whether it's matrics, grade 11s, grade 7s, basically the whole syllabus. You can go volunteer at the school and tutor maths. Before you know it, it could be that the school says, you know what, we'll pay you a little small stipend of 500 Rand every second month or something like that, because they see the value you're adding. So you need to be able to create value for yourself, because that's going to be your MVP, basically, your value proposition for your your people that you're going to be liaising with and talking to, for them to come back in order then to buy that service from you. So you need to basically prove yourself. If the opportunity is not coming to you, prove yourself so that you can then be better suited and better positioned to accept that opportunity. So I hope that helps you, Yandisa. So just as we almost about to wrap up and everything, if we can just go around just in terms of what you've learned within your own journey, what advice you would have there for everyone, whether it's matrics, whether it's grade 9s, whether it's students, whether it's graduates that just entered the world of work. Basically just some advice in terms of what worked for you and what didn't work, but you now have seen another way around it and it works better. Just, yeah, sharing is caring. Mihlali.
Yes, so I've got 2 points. The first one is just to dish out some bit of advice to whoever's tuning in. And I think what the most important thing you can do for yourself as an individual is to not compare yourself to other people. I think for most of us, you always trying to find this reference point. Oh, so and so is entering university. So and so got a bursary. I think it's a very damaging thing that we do to ourselves, because now when you compare yourself to the other person, your uniqueness and your individualism gets lost in between. So that's one note. I mean, I've been I think when I was in high school most of the time, because like I was in this new place and I was like, oh, but these people, they come from, like, someone lives in Camps Bay. I have to take a bus to Guguletu. So it's you just end up destroying yourself without even being aware that you're doing it, because now you're destroying that confidence. And so it's always best to not compare yourself to other people. You walk your own journey, and like, and I find this like it's a very huge problem, because even with our parents at our homes, like there's always that comparison between siblings, like so and so got a bursary and you must be like your brother, you must be like your sister. So I think for parents as well, it's time that we took just an alternative route, because through comparison people are lost. Yeah, that's my first point. And then on the second point, I think what I would advise in terms of tertiary, it's time management. In terms of studying, I know like people say like time management, you hear it a lot, but it's very difficult, and it's something that one needs to manage and be on top of. So people can, just planning on your studies, whether you're studying for a test, an exam, just time management and planning. Because what I've found most of the time is that you get a result and you're like, ish, but if I had properly planned this, I would have maybe gotten a better mark than this, even though it's still a pass, but just the difference between the planning and so for planning, you need to be disciplined. You need to be disciplined. Self-discipline is very key. And that's just my advice on everyone who's tuning in. Thanks.
Yeah, I see it's getting a repetitive element around the planning, as Abraham had said earlier, basically around if you fail to plan, you're literally planning to fail. So it seems to be a constant element, and it's so true. Abraham, I'll hand over to you the mic.
Yeah, I think just in addition to what I said earlier, in terms of those 3 factors that I was mentioning, in terms of working smart, not hard, being able to adapt, as well as just, what is the third one? I can't even remember myself, but the things that I mentioned earlier, I think just in addition to that, the fact that you need to actually develop soft skills as you're going along your journey. I think that's something that I picked up a bit too late, just in my whole journey, and like just going through the whole process and thinking to yourself, look, I might be in leadership positions in the future. What do I actually need to consciously develop in order to be a good leader in the future? Things like being empathetic, being able to actually relate to the next person, and knowing when to trust your teammates in certain situations. So things like that, as well as being able to speak in front of a crowd, small things like that, just the development of that, I think I picked up a bit late in my journey. So I think that's something that you want to develop as early as you can. And then obviously all the other things that I've mentioned in addition to that as well, just keep going. And I think one of the most important things that allowed me to just stay constant and stay and keep myself just motivated on the whole journey that I had is just trying to tell myself to be better than I was on the previous day, and just keep improving day in and day out. And I think that's something that all of us should just keep in mind as we're going through each of our own personal journeys. Yeah. Nazuka, you're on mute.
I'm talking to myself and I'm on mute. So I was saying, you actually touched up on a very important element, the soft skills development, where a lot of students and graduates only see that gap once they're done studying, and that's why sometimes they struggle to find jobs. So just to come back to you, Ibrahim, with regards to the soft skills, you're saying that you picked it up late. How can one, let's say there's a high school student or there's a tertiary student that's coming out, how can they pick that up quite early on? And basically, what does it mean to say soft skills? Because people can just be like, oh, you need soft skills. And then someone from high school will be like, what soft skills? Like, no, leave me alone.
No, definitely. I think it depends on what you get involved in at the end of the day, to be honest. So for me personally, when I started tutoring, when I started lecturing at the university level, I think that really brought most of those things out, just in terms of it. But what I've seen from my peers as well and my colleagues, like just getting involved in certain things, whether it be social groups that you get involved in, committees, all of those things, and actually being like at the high school level, even if you're playing sports or if you part of any societies, whatnot, that teaches you some good interpersonal skills as you're going through that, and some good leadership skills. So don't think that, oh, I need to just focus on on my academics also. Like that's a very important thing in the bigger scheme of things, but the additional variables that come with that is as important, and if not sometimes more important, than actually going through that. So make sure that you have a balance over there. And again, like I think it was Mihlali that said the whole idea of time management. In order for you to do all of these things, you do need to manage your time also. So I think just the combination of all of those is quite important. So just make sure that you do keep that in mind as you are each going through your journeys to success.
No, awesome, totally. Yeah, it's really important to start. And as you're saying, one can start that even primary school and just keep building and developing those soft skills so that you can speak better when you are being interviewed, where you can actually compile a CV, or where you can actually present a presentation. And even in high school and in varsity, you do presentations, so you need to be a good communicator. So those elements actually then feed in, and they help you basically develop you into a great leader one day. So yeah, no, that's amazing. Thanks, Ibrahim. So I will ask, let's go for Precious. So your last parting words and advice.
So I have two things to mention that I would have told my younger self. Yeah. Definitely look out for mental health issue signs sooner than later, and almost be aware of what they are. I think I was fortunate enough to be in the health science industry, so I was taught about the signs: not eating, not sleeping, having no motivation. When your procrastination leads to just not doing anything at all, I think I would have sought help a lot sooner. And yeah, from people in the university, lecturers, friends, just ask for guidance on where to go, who I could talk to, just so I could get that support. And then the second thing that I'm beating myself up now about is just, I would have done more information, or the soft skills that Ibrahim spoke about, just learning about financial literacy at a small level for myself. So I would have started my building my credit score a lot sooner, instead of last year, towards the end of the year. Just so that, because that helps with if I want to get a house in a couple of years' time, so they can see that I have a good credit score, and how to maintain that good credit score, and just using my money wisely. Also, if I want to start my own business, around taxes, how taxes work as a sole proprietor, as a private company, all of those things are really key. And you only learn these things through connecting with different people. So don't keep your network really small around the people that you'll be working with. See whoever, if you bump into someone that's at a party or wherever, find out what they're doing, and then say, oh, can we have coffee, and network with the people that they network with, so that you broaden the knowledge that you receive outside of your degree, because that's the only way we really prepare ourselves for the real world. When, yes, we'll have our job that we need to do, but there are other things that we also need to do as adults. So taxes, if you want to start your own businesses, there's so many other things that you need to know, and being prepared for that before you leave university is sometimes helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And broadening those networks is quite key, because a lot of people also find their jobs through the networks they have. So it's always good to basically grow that, and it's an element where you can always, it's a bucket, it's a gold mine you just keep tapping into for knowledge, for opportunities, for anything.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Thanks. Mpumi, your parting words and.
On my side, I actually had to write them down because I knew I'd forget. So
You're the old one for me. You should still be like fresh mind and everything.
I wish. So I mean, I only have 4 things I guess I could share. That I guess have helped me, I guess, in some form of way. The first one I would say is it's never too early for anything that you want to do. I think as soon as you have the idea, just plan out how you're going to do it, and then just start. And I think the beauty of the plan is that it keeps you grounded in some form of way. It doesn't have to be exact, but it has to at least have be a bit of a vision for what you actually want to do and what the end goal is, and use those as like guiding lights. You can always change them up as things change within you and outside, but I'd say like it's never too early to start anything. The second thing I would say, I guess it's going against what Mihlali said, but that's because I'm very competitive. I would say use competition as an opportunity for growth.
Sorry for me, we lost you there for 1 second. Use.
I said use competition as an opportunity for growth. When a person is further than you in something, it's because they've done something that you haven't. So it's about having that conversation, not taking it personally, and finding out what is it that they've done to get there, and use those learnings to move yourself forward. And the other thing is to never do your best to not take things personally, because like it is a rough world out here, and not everyone's going to say things the way you want it to be said, and not everyone's going to do things the way you want them to do it. So rather learn to not take it personally. And I would say the last thing is to also just ask. Just ask. And maybe it'll be a yes, maybe it'll be a no. And if it's a no, find out why, and use those reasons to make it a yes with someone else, or even with the same person.
Wow. No, absolutely true. Because if you want to do something and you're not starting, when will you ever start? And back to what you were saying, the competition. Healthy competition is always good. It's only when it's an unhealthy competition where then the problems come in. So totally, yep, absolutely. Always strive to do your best in all that you do. And I see you also agreeing with Precious with what she was saying earlier, is to ask, because if you're not asking for, whether it's you're asking for support, asking for guidance, or asking for whatever that you need, how do you then expect the situation to change? So to be able and comfortable and feel safe enough to be able to ask. And one of the areas that I think as students that you not use, like from what I've learned and from what I've seen from students, is actually asking for help, especially when it comes to the mental health wellness. There still seems to be a whole myth around students asking for help. So someone rather goes in and keeps quiet and suffers by themselves. But to learn to speak up and be able to ask, but again, it comes back to us to saying, are we creating safe spaces around? Are we creating the safe environments? But yeah, absolutely, to speak up and just ask for help, basically. And we actually have an amazing session tomorrow that speaks to the whole mental wellness element, because it's quite key. But before I digress, so absolutely. So Sajal, your parting words.
So I have 3 points, since I saw everyone naming their points, so I'm also going to number mine. So my first one is, don't put other people's failures on yourself. So what I mean by that is, like, when I came to university specifically, people were like, oh no, university is difficult, you're going to fail, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And I think everywhere, any situation, if you want to start a business or if you want to go to masters, whatever you want to travel, it really applies to every scenario. Don't put other people's failures on yourself, because you're not them. And there is nothing wrong with telling people, it's okay, you failed, I'm not going to fail. You need to speak things out, and it's fine, because if people are comfortable bringing negative energy to you, you should be comfortable bringing positive energy and saying it out loud. So don't put other people's failure on yourself. Don't be scared, just go for it. So that's the first thing. That's what I think I should live by. I try to my best. And then the second thing is opportunities. Like, take on every opportunity that you can get, because the real truth is, many people don't get that chance to get opportunities that some of us are presented with. For me, it's like, it's a privilege. Some opportunities are like privileges. For example, the idea of soft skills. There are people who don't get a chance to participate in societies. There are people who don't get the opportunity to join, for example, a debate club at school. Maybe their school never had that. So you're getting all these privileges. So take the opportunities on. If you're going to be at work and there's a function and you need to go help some children and paint schools, maybe you're going to learn how to paint. There's a lot of opportunities out there. And I think that's how you build soft skills, by taking on things and just saying yes to good things. And the last thing is building good habits. So we like to say we're young, life is long. The truth is, no, God put us here for a purpose. And we are young, yes, but then again, nobody knows their lifespan. So if we talk about proportionality, we don't really know. So all of us are technically old, because we don't really know, how long we're supposed to be here for. But if you look at it like that, build good habits. Don't be like, no, I'm only going to do this when I'm 40 because I'm too young for it right now. Or right now I can play around with my life or whatever. No, build good habits, exercise, eat healthy. It's the simple things that really matter, because when you're older, you want to, reminisce on good memories, and you want to you have a vision for yourself. And if you're able to build those good habits and you have that picture, like I think it was Pumi say that. I think I'm just reading the name. Okay, yes, it's Pumi say that. He talked about how you have like goals and like something you're working towards. So if you're able to know what that goal is, what that vision is for yourself, you're able to build a good habits that's going to take you there. So that way you don't slack. You don't, if you see yourself, okay, I'm getting a bit depressed, then okay, the good thing to do here is to seek help, and it's, yeah, I think that's for me, good habits, grab opportunities, and the first one, don't put other people's failures on yourself because you can do it. Yes.
So you can, absolutely. Because if you start, you live for the moment and you make the best of every moment and every situation. So as you're saying, we don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know what the next minute holds. So we have to grab the moment and make the best of it. And Delela, last but not least, what would be your last words?
So everyone is in the unfortunate position of being stuck with someone with a lot of opinions, but I'll try to keep everything short. So I think I have around 5 points, and I'll try to keep them as short as possible. And the first one is know yourself. So there's that quote by Sun Tzu, which is, if you know your enemy, you'll win half the battles. If you know yourself, you'll win another half of the battles. If you know your enemy and yourself, you will win 100 battles. So effectively, be prepared, know yourself, just check your own blind spots, because a lot of life's problems come at us through our blind spots. It's rarely a collision. It's usually something that seeps in through the side. So just know yourself and keep track of that. Secondly, earn your confidence. So a lot of the time I find that in life, you succeed a few times at a thing and then you kind of go, great, fantastic. I'm confident about this going forward. I'm just going to do it. Self-doubt is really important in that case. As soon as you start to feel like you're getting a little bit too secure, doubt yourself. And by doubt, I don't mean like, just kind of start getting down on yourself and thinking that I'm a failure, blah, blah, blah. No, none of that. Doubt and doubt and doubt and ask questions until you get to the thing which is beyond doubt. And once you get to that thing, then you will have earned your confidence. And third, if you want to be interesting, be interested. So I find that all of the people that are most interesting in life are not the ones that have, lots of opinions or lots of great successes, but they're the ones that have hobbies. They're the ones that read. They're the ones that are into music, that are into an obscure sport from Malaysia. So build those kinds of things, because it also gives you a bridge to other people. Now people have questions to ask. You become a conversation piece effectively. It's wonderful for marketing, let me tell you. Fourth, learn a new language. And by new language, I don't necessarily mean like French or German or Zulu or Tonga, even though that's really useful as well. But understand that even if like two people or different groups of people who speak English speak a different idiom, understand their idiom. I think one of the biggest things holding like Black students and Black graduates back is understanding of the idiom of so-called white spaces. So you get to university, for example, and a lot of the cultural references, a lot of the assumptions that are being made are things that you've never heard of before. Learn that idiom and you have a point of access already. And secondly, you're likelier to get on much better. So I said I had 5 points, but I think those 4 kind of work really well. I've forgotten the last one. Thank you.
No, absolutely. They worked well. And it's so true. If you don't know yourself, that's where you're going to keep moving. This person is going to come with this idea. You're going to run with that. Someone else is going to come with their own different idea. You're literally going to be shifting. And before you know it, you don't even recognize yourself. You want to say something?
The last one that I almost forgot is get yourself right first before you do anything else. So there's that quote by Confucius, I think, which was, a man who has not order within him cannot bring order about him. So if you don't know yourself, if you haven't gotten the internal thing right, the external is never going to work. So take time, do the meditation, do the journaling, self-care isn't just about nice life. Self-care is about doing genuine internal work.
Yeah, it's self-awareness. Because if you can see yourself, you're able to see others and others are able to see you for who you are. And you remain the authentic self that you are. No, wow. This was an absolutely amazing discussion. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I think I learned so much from you. And I'm sure everyone else in the audience also learned a lot. And it's so amazing to hear such viewpoints and such insights from yourselves. Because as we tend to go like an industry, like, oh no, we need to solve these problems. But having to solve a problem for a graduate or for a student, I've been out of university for so long, but it's great to hear and see students solving and grads solving their own problems for themselves because it's so fresh. It's things that you're going through personally, like as in now. What I went through in my years and my peers, it's totally different. As much as, yes, we are there to guide, we are there to support, but it's always great to have that first voice and that first hand coming from yourselves. So thank you so much for availing yourselves to have this conversation. And so many other students and graduates are actually going to learn from this, because it's pointless for us to keep repeating certain mistakes where we can avoid such. So big kudos to you. All the best in your own journeys, like in life, in careers, in love, in business, in everything. Thank you so much. I hope you guys also learn from each other as well. And we look forward to engaging with you further. This is just a start, so who knows, we'll be knocking on your door to be like, you know what, let's have another debate around certain things. And you guys have our details, so please feel free to also reach out if you also need to. But thank you so much. And to the audience, thank you for joining us, as well as our YouTube peeps. Thank you. And this will also be uploaded on the app. So for the people that didn't get to see and hear, that we also provide an opportunity for them to actually still learn from this conversation. And I wish everyone a lovely evening, day, afternoon further. Have an awesome afternoon.
Thank you, Nezuko.
Thank
And
you
the
so
rest of the
much.
panelists.